I'm having the great privilege to introduce Shri Dushyanth Sridhar. We are very, very happy to invite Dushyanth Sridhar on the stage. Big round of applause. Thank you.
Antarjyotir kimapi yaminam anjanam yogadrishhtehe Chintaratnam sulabhamihana siddhi mokshanurupam Deenanatha vyasanashamanam daivatam daivatanam Divyam chakshuh shruti parishadam drishyate rangamadhye. A very good morning to the Astikas who have gathered in such an elegant premises of North Bangalore, the Rajadhani of such a prosperous state called Karnataka. And it is indeed a feast to all our eyes to see such assembly of people who respect, revere, and adore the Yoga Shastra that we have bequeathed from our Maharishis and ancestors. In such a packed schedule that we have all received for day 1 and day 2, I am very thankful to the organizers for finding mention of such a primitive mortal like me to be on such a stage and be addressing the all of you. The topic that I have been given is, what are the Vedic lessons for mental health? The word mental health itself will send some shock waves in us. Because for a very long time in our schools and movie industry, especially in Bangalore, if somebody is slightly disturbed, we would immediately come up with the word, Neenu nimhans hogbeku. So that's the statement that we have all been told. So to even address and understand and take cognizance of something called mental health itself needs a person to muster a lot of courage. In the Ramayana, we come across Sita. When we see Sita, she has been abducted for a period of 12 months because towards the end of Aranya Kandam, it is said that she was abducted around the start of Chaitra. ನಾವು ಋತುಗಳು ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ವಸಂತ ಋತು, ಗ್ರೀಷ್ಮ ಋತು, ವರ್ಷಾ ಋತು, ಶರದ್ ಋತು, ಹೇಮಂತ, ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಮುಗಿಯುವಾಗ ಶಿಶಿರ ಋತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೀವಿ. So she was abducted at the start of the Chaitra month. So Ravana tells towards the end of Aranya Kandam that I give you 12 months time to succumb to my pressure. But when Hanuman comes, at that point on time, he sees Ravana giving here another, he says that there are 2 months left. So which means he sees her in the 10th month. Avyakta rekham iva chandra rekham pramsuf pradugdham iva hema rekham kshatraf prarudham iva chandra rekham, says Valmiki. So she was appearing like a beautiful moon that's covered with a layer of dust because she is wearing soiled clothes. She has not taken bath for 10 months. She has become very lean. There is always a sense of insecurity that you could see in her face. But Hanuman wonders, how can a woman survive like this? Because she knows that there is nobody in India that she would have sent her a message that I'm coming. How does she survive? That time Valmiki says, Ekastha hridayanunam ramevanu pashyati. Because her focus was absolutely pointed in the northwestern direction towards Bharata from Lanka. Ekastha hridayanunam. Her focus was so pointed that she knew what I keep meditating and contemplating upon will give me peace. This is called as Yoga Shastram. Yoga Shastra is not about using the best of the facilities and then doing yoga. when you are in the worst of the situation, that yoga should come to your rescue. That kind of yoga shastram is what our maharshis and ancestors have practiced. So Sita's existence in Lanka was a result of her being a great Brahmavadini, says the commentator Trayambaka Makin in his commentary called Dharmakutam. So this mental health is extremely important. That is why when people have to invoke the word dhyana, dhyana anta shabdana ಪ್ರಯೋಗ ಮಾಡೋ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೂರ್ವಾಚಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಭಗವದ್ಧ್ಯಾನ ಸೋಪಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಭಗವದ್ಧ್ಯಾನ ಸೋಪಾನಂ. The commentator asks, why should it be Bhagavad-dhyana? Why can't it just be dhyana on something? The commentator says, if you have to fix your concentration and focus on something, it has to be an object of incessant glory. In the Telugu Bhasha, there was a great poet called Tyagaraja Swami. ನಾವು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರೀಯ ಸಂಗೀತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ರಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಕೀರ್ತನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ತುಂಬ ಅಭಿಲಾಷೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುವಾಗ ಅವರು ಕನಕನ ರುಚಿರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಕೀರ್ತನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಕನಕನ ರುಚಿರ. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹಸ್ ಬಿನ್ never having food for 10 days. He has never been getting food at all. He is in some utopian land. On the 11th day, he returns to his place of stay. ಆವಾಗ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ರೊಟ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ 10 days ಉಪವಾಸ. 11th day ಏಕಾದಶಿ. This is the opposite. Generally you eat on 10 days and the 11th day is ಏಕಾದಶಿ. Here 10 days he is fasted, the 11th day is parana for him. He comes home, he sees excellent akki roti there. He eats the first akki roti. The akki roti, the first roti that you will be having, will be tasting heaven. When he is served the second akki roti, he will still eat it, but it will not taste as good as the first. Have you noticed that? I thought this was a question. Will the second akki roti, it will not taste. So there's somebody in the audience who is helping me answer. So she says no. That's true. Lesson 3 of economics is law of diminishing utility and marginality. Where when you keep tasting or savoring or experiencing an object of your pleasure for over a period of time, it will not give you the same experience as the first. But Tyagaraja Swami says, Rama, when I see you the first time, you're handsome. The second time when I see you, as per the law of diminishing utility and marginality, you should look less handsome. But you look as handsome as the first time or even more. So he says, sapatni matayau suruchiche karnashulamai namataveenula churukana talaka shri harini dhyaninchi ಸುಖಿಂಪಗಲೇದ ಯಟು ಕನಕನ ರುಚಿರ. ಕನ అంటే తెలుగు భాషలో మరి again and again when I see you. So an object that we have to meditate upon should be the one that is beating the law of diminishing utility and marginality. So the only one as per the Yoga Shastra is the one who is never succumbed to human things like deterioration and decay. That is why it is said Bhagavad Dhyana Sopanam. Towards the end of his compendium of 1034 verses, which is called as Narayaniyam, written in the 16th century by a prolific poet, grammarian called as Narayana Bhattatri, who belonged to the Sangama school Sangamagrama School of Mathematics from Kerala, he says, Neelabham kunchitagram ghanamamalataram sanyatam charubhangya ratnottamsabhiramam valayitam udayaschandrakaihi pinchajalaihi mandarasrangnivitam ghanaprutukabaribaram alokayeham snigdha shvetodhvapundram apicha sulalitam phalabalendu vithim. He says, I meditate, and what a meditation it is, he says. All this for mental health. He says, when I see a little boy with a beautiful moon-like face, Chandranana, we says, the face of a moon, round face of a moon, but bereft of the blemishes that you see on the moon, with a nose that looks like the sesame flower. ಎಳ್ಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವೇ, ಎಳ್ಳಿಷ್ಟು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ದಾಸರ ಪದ. ಎಳ್ಳು ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಆ ಪುಷ್ಪ, it should be so sharply pointed. So Krishna's nose is like the flower of a sesame flower. His forehead looks like the moon taken on the Chaturthi night, the crescent moon. So the forehead is like the crescent moon. The face is like the full moon. The nose is like the sesame flower. The eyes appear like the petals of a newly blossomed lotus that has just received the rays of the rising sun. So the eyes should be as broad as the petals of the lotus. How are the teeth? Unmila dantapankti spuratarunatara bimbadarantaha. It looks as if some person was bestowed with some supreme power and he could bring all the stars from the constellations and arrange 16 above and 16 beneath and call those stars which have been arranged in the upper and the lower jaws as teeth. He has got lips that appear like the corals that have been taken from the Great Barrier Reef and have been crushed together to give the red hue. The neck appears like a conch of the lotus, and the broad shoulders that speak about his greatness. That description is what Bhattatri takes and calls it as Dhyanam. Now imagine you're meditating every day. There is a certain time that you allocate for yourself. And as you sit for that meditation, you close your eyes. You don't have to light any of these wax candles that you get in bunches from the second floor of the Phoenix Mall. So you just have to close your eyes. And all that you see is a beautiful form that is of undiminishing glory. And that form stays in your mind. And as you keep looking into that form slightly gets absorbed at the tip of your nose, because it is said nasagre. It should come towards the tip of your nose. And when you close your eyes, about 3/4, your eyeballs come to the center looking at that form. That form is what our acharyas say is Bhagavad Dhyana Sopanam. So it is extremely important that we register and instill this form in our minds. And that form becomes our object of meditation for good mental health. Where does this mental health help? It appears and helps in different stages. I'm sure when we meet children of the current day who go to schools, they have their own set of problems. Children who are in their elementary school, they use the words like depression. Till about 1990, the word depression was formed only in the Bay of Bengal, and that would lead to a cyclone. Today, depression seems to have engulfed and occupied the spaces of even an elementary school child. So it is extremely important that we bring such forms in front of their eyes so that their focus gets fixed. Ekastha hridayanunam rameva anupashyati, says Valmiki. Same thing should be our case. That is why the poet says, Padambhojam sprishati bhajate ranganathasya jangam Urudvandve vilagatishanai udvamabhyeti nabhim vakshasyaste valati bhujayor mamikeyam manisha vaktrabhikyam pibati vasate vasanam maulibandhe. So for every form, it is extremely important that we also are very time conscious. How time conscious should one be? Like how I should be. Like how I was told that 10:30 you have to start sharp and 11 o'clock you have to complete. So they have said, when it is 11 o'clock you have to complete because that is your stipulated time. So, that said, the shlokas beautifully describe the focus that one needs to have on forms. What else should one develop? That is where Yoga Shastra, that all of you have been true Sishyas of, where you have come to celebrate, through its 8 stages, it is called Ashtanga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. So the first 3, Yama, Niyama, Asana, talk about what needs to come from us value-wise. Some people ask, what will we do if we celebrate yoga? We all celebrate yoga. What will happen? People will say your health will be better. Your mental health will be better. Right? What else can we say? Anybody else? Any other thing? What is the benefit of yoga? Good health, physical health, good mental health. Next. Peace. So Trump is going to do now. Longest life. More than 100 years. You will get 40 years pension. Next. Very good. Anything else? Prashne and Sir, Swami is answering. What is the answer? Can somebody listen and tell me? 100 years. You want, Sir, Swami says 100 years. 94 years. He is hale and healthy. We all need to respect him. A big round of applause. So to survive in this material world in a very hale and healthy fashion as Swami, yoga helps. All this is fine. Easiest, I'll tell you. Something which is very practical. If people practice yoga in the spirit, corruption will come down. You know why? Yama, Niyama, Asana talks about how you should not ever aspire for somebody else's wealth. Be very honest. Be very truthful. This is how yoga begins. Only when your value system is superior can you even think of meditating on Bhagavan. So yoga will first of all be very practical in bringing down the corruption in our society. So yoga at various levels will help our society, whether it is value system, whether it is physical health, and the topic which has been given to me, which is mental health. In the concluding point, all that I can say is, Yoga Shastra, when practiced with the dhyana of Bhagavan, ensures that the mental health is extremely nourishing. That mental health which will also bring in and instill confidence people around us. That is why Yudhishthira was so strong enough despite the losses he faced. Even during the times of Yaksha Prashnam, where he had to answer 124 questions, his mind was absolutely clear because of his Yoga Shastra. Chitta Vritti, that Nirodha, that particular, the first rule of yoga itself is where it is able to bring all those distractions away and bring it to one point. Yogasya Chitta Vritti, Tathaham Itam. So this particular Yoga Shastra is extremely important for our Indian society because we are speaking about a Vikasit Bharat in 2047. How do we ensure that? We still have 20 plus years. If the current system starts practicing the benefits of Yoga Shastra, I am sure we will come up with a society that is extremely prosperous, very contributing, very conscious of its duties, and extremely good-willing for the country. With this, I would like to thank the organizers for having given me the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.